Last year, in 2020, September, we did something called the University of You. A master class, 4 days long, 4 modules, but it was just me. This year, we're doing something totally different because I want this to be more impactful. This year, we're doing Come to Mises. What do you mean, come to Mises? Well, it's quite simple. You've heard of having a come to Jesus moment. Well, now I'm going to teach you how to confront your darkness, your demons, your trauma, your unhealed hurt. Come to Mises. We're going to teach you how to confront all of those things that inhibit the quality of your relationships. 4 days, 4 modules. We're going to cover emotional sobriety. We're going to cover generational curses. We're even going to cover finances and how to deal with transactional love while living in a transactional society. This is going to be a haymaker of a class, of a course. I don't want you to miss it. So with that said, this is what you need to do. Go to cometomises.com, put in the code ZoLive21, and you're going to get 70% off. This is one of those things you get the whole family together. You guys sit down and you watch it. It's like devotion. I remember Big Mama used to do devotion when we were young. This is like devotion, man. We're going to introduce you guys to an African spiritualist. We're going to introduce you guys to a couple of psychotherapists. It's a big deal. Don't miss it. cometomises.com.
Don't be this guy. Raise your drive and libido. It's time to man up with X-Wolf. Boost your testosterone levels to help decrease your body fat percentage and increase lean muscle mass gains. Boost your stamina and blood flow for those tough workouts. And these workouts also. Go to xlabsubs.com to find out more.
So when we talk about unhealed inner work, we're also talking about modeling. Our parents are works in progress. So oftentimes we're teaching them as they're raising us. And whatever they haven't worked on, children tend to model that. It was BOBBBY who talked about attachment theory. And in Bowlby's work, whatever attachment style you developed as an infant goes on into adulthood, and it will present itself in your relationships, whether that is a secure attachment, an insecure attachment, or an indifferent attachment. The wounds that our parents left unhealed has the potential to become the standards and principles we have for relationships as adults ourselves. Yo, 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 Zoe Williams is in the building, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sarah, say what's up to the folk. Mansions has returned. What? Bobby's on his way. He'll be here in about 10 minutes. So that gives me time to promote. Come to Mises. The month of August is ending. September is on the way. I'm telling you, this is an amazing investment in oneself. Come to Mises.com. Come to Mises.com. All right? Get over there. Support that. Come to Mises.com. 4 days, 4 modules, 8 hours, special guests. It's going to be amazing. All right? We got a special code. The code is ZoLive21. You put that coupon code in. This is for YouTubers or people who watch YouTube, Instagram, or IG Live. This is for you. Support code, 70% off. We need 10 people to sign up today. We're doing a push to end August. Can we get 10 people to sign up today? Come to Mises.com. Revolutionary content to change the way we relate. What's very interesting about this particular topic, do you know the name of the actor? I think his name is Yahya. He's playing Candyman.
Oh, Candyman. I'll have to look it up. I don't know.
Right. The new movie Candyman is coming out. I think this brother also played in that HBO Max show with Regina King, Watchmen. He was Dr. Manhattan.
Okay.
Yah something. Everybody, when you come in here, hit the like button. Please hit the like button because we're about to get started really quickly. What's the actor's name, Sarah? Just type in Candyman actor.
I'm looking up Candyman right now. Let me see. Okay. It's on here.
Yahya Abdul Mateen. I think that's his name. All right. That brother just dropped an article where he said something that was quite interesting. He said black people are so much more. We are so much more than our trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Yahya Abdul Mateen II. He said, we are so much more than our trauma and our potentiality. That is true. I do not disagree with that. We can be so much more than what we have been through. I agree with that. But we got to do the work. And unfortunately, trauma rewrites reality if it is left unchecked. So the brother said something that was powerful and is achievable, but is it believable to the people that suffer from that yoke? This is the purpose of why I put together to come to Mises Masterclass. We have unique traumas. We got some serious issues. So instead of putting the mask of swag on, because many of us wear a swagger mask, a confidence mask, right? Many of us do that. Come on in here, Bobby. Grab your chair, brother. There's your mic. Can you get Bobby set up with his mic, Sarah? So many of us got this mask on, and we refuse to do the real work that is necessary to be done. And here I am. I'm saying this is something that's going to help us get past, where we've been. Come to Mises.com. Discount code ZoLive21. ZoLive21. We need 10 people to sign up today. Also, you got to know something about Zo. Whenever you see Zo, just know I ain't far from Total Package Energy. I'm doing it. Total Package Energy, man. I got to be on it. Man, so much is going on. Come to Mises Masterclass. The new book. Television. Me and Ray Grady getting ready to do a TV. It's a show. It's a show. But it's only going to be available on Patreon. Called No Class. We're going to be suited and booted. We're going to sit down. It's going to be crazy. You got to sign up to my Patreon in order to see that show. That's the only place you're going to be able to see it. It's not going to be on YouTube. We're going to shoot it professionally. And we're going to have some major guests. It's going to be him and I. It's going to be real dope. No Class. That's coming. Me and Marcus King are doing a television show. That's coming. It's a talk show. The Zoe Williams talk show. So a lot of things are in the fire, in the iron. The iron is in the fire, as they say. And just support, man. Just support. So Total Package Energy. Get their pea protein. Get the vitamin C. Get the B12. Get all of that stuff in your system, man, because this variant is real. Delta is real. Man, y'all got to protect yourselves out there, man. TotalPackageEnergy.com. Cash mob them. Buy out their entire inventory. and tell them Zoe sent you. Also, X-Wolf, you saw the commercial. You brothers out there over 35, get these herbs in your body, man. A natural testosterone booster. This is the black version, black-owned version of Nugenics. Nothing but Panax, ginseng, Tongkat Ali, all these natural herbs, maca root. Support this black-owned business, xlabsups.com. Z-Moss, y'all should buy all the Z-Moss. My own brand of C-Moss, y'all should buy the Z-Moss. Go to cmossbusiness.com and get your order now. cmossbusiness.com and order Zoe's Z-Moss. Do it right now. HuriKane Report. Let's get to all of them. HuriKane. Don't play with this girl. Hey. Don't play with this logo. Get that logo up there. H-report.news. Write it, take action, maintain freedom. The HuriKane Report is the Black Al Jazeera. They're reporting news sources that are specific to us folk. Now, some of us just call us regular black folk. Some of us call us FBA. Some of us call us ADOS. Some of us say B1. But I get my information, my stories for a lot of my shows from this source, the HuriKane Report. Write it, take action, maintain freedom. H-report.news. Now, I think I have one more thing to promote. Yes. Here it is right here. Financial Edge membership. All right, your personal team of financial experts that use proven strategies to shift and grow your current income to create a stronger cash flow. Please go to this website right now, www.mwrfinancial.com/TSP2020. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. You can text them the promo code VOR to their hotline, which is area code 910-302-7149. All right, Bobby. First off, thank you for making it, brother, because I know you be working and grinding, so thank you.
Like the bad brakes on the dump truck.
Like the bad brakes on the dump truck. Uncle Bobby up in this. Let me tell y'all something about Uncle Bobby real quick. Bobby is a man of his word. When Bobby took my son under his wing as a mentor, as a secondary voice to my own, I mean, I don't know if you know what it means to have a brother that's educated, that's connected, that's wise, to be able to pour into the mind of a 16, 15-year-old boy. And my son listened because I told my son, if I listen, you got to listen. And he listened. And Bobby, man, Bobby has put my son in front of Jim Brown. Bobby has put my son in front of Jerry West. And I mean from high school into adulthood. All because Bobby saw something. Bobby saw something in my son and said, hey, man, we got to get a hold of this because we can help this kid get some. Man, remember the time you was at Samo High? Yeah. We got Coach Steve Lavin, who is the head coach at the time of St. John's. And me and the coach in the stands, and he watching New workout or whatnot. Next thing you know, Bobby tackles New and throws him on the ground. The coach is like, what's going on? Bobby said, hey, you got to come harder than that. You know, the little whippers, you got to come up. So the next time, New, shake him up, drive by him and dunk on him. I said, Bobby out here tripping. But one thing I learned about Bobby, man, Bobby said, man, Bobby will call you and tell you, this is what I learned about him. He'll call and say, thank you for letting me be myself. Thank you, brother, man. I love you, man.
I gotta share something with you.
Please.
I have a personal motivation for sharing and sowing into young men's lives, young women's lives when possible, because I didn't raise my son, and that has always haunted me. So any chance I get to impact the lives of a young person, it's just organic for me to do that. And it doesn't completely fill the void, but it soothes my soul to be able to impact the lives of some young people, because I came from that kind of culture, that kind of environment, and as time passes, I see it's even more necessary to do that now than ever before, to let young people know they're not alone, they don't know everything, and that you care about them.
Right.
Because once they trust that you care about them, you get an opportunity to share the good and bad experiences that life has presented to my generation and the generations after my generation.
Absolutely. So, Bobby, there's all kind of fancy words out here. This is Black Male 101. Black men talking about black men and how to pour into them so that they can become self-realized. Now, I know you work with the great Jim Brown. And Jim Brown created a curriculum to do just that, to help young, disenfranchised, economically, socially, intellectually, educationally, disenfranchised, socially challenged black men to reach a level of self-realization. And I mean, he gang summits. Talk to us about that curriculum, American.
The basic rudiments of the curriculum are eliminate the negative, establish the facts, choose your best options. And that simple process, it strips away all of the excuses. So what, you don't have a father? So what, you came up poor? So what, you came up in a bad neighborhood? All of those are temporary conditions if you take responsibility for your own self-determination. And that's not easy to do, but there's no substitute for it. And Jim put me in a position where I had to go through the curriculum in order to understand the principles of the curriculum. And once I did that, it had a profound impact on my life, because Jim led by example. Far from perfect. Far from perfect.
Oh, absolutely. As we all are.
Right.
You know.
And so what he did was he took himself out of the equation. He got the advice of some very famous and well-known psychologists and human behavioral specialists and all of that. And he coupled that with his own life experience, because Jim didn't have a father. And as a result of that, he had to grow up pretty fast. And he just became a person who would always tell you how he felt, whether he was right or wrong.
He gonna tell you.
You're gonna get it straight from him. And what I learned from him and inspired me to do the book Real Men Don't Play is because you gotta say what you mean and mean what you say and hold yourself accountable. And because of that, I was able to begin to meet a lot of people in his circle and around his circle that helped shape and mold my view of the world. And the curriculum has been something I still go back to from time to time to just refresh myself with the rudiments of what it means to be responsible for your own life. Because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, why would someone else? What they'll do is cherry pick and then have you thinking that you got a friend when you really don't. My uncle used to always tell me, he said, Bobby, be careful about people patting you on your back. They looking for a soft spot to stab you. And so it's been a lot of influences that still, prevail in my mind.
Right.
And I've been fortunate in the last few months to add to that circle of friends a young man that spent some time here in Los Angeles by the name of Kwame Brown. And Kwame is an old soul, and I'm working feverishly to get him and Jim together before there's a transition. And he reminds me of Jim in so many ways, man, because he's an old soul, because he had a grandfather, his father was in his life early on, and mama's cooking.
And mama's cooking.
Yeah, man, and it has allowed him to by example, show what a person can do if he don't let other folks get in his way. Because he tells people all the time, I'm not a leader, I'm not trying to be a leader, but I'm gonna let my work speak for me. And I went to Brunswick, Georgia, his hometown, and he had a shoe drive where the objective was to acquire 6,000 pair of shoes for kids in the local community that otherwise would do without. And he got a lot of speculation from people like Tommy Sotomayor and Charlemagne the God and Stephen Jackson. You know, people coming at him from all the way, but it all started with Stephen A. Smith. Because that man sat back for 20 years and allowed Stephen A. Smith to eat off of what he perceived this 18-year-old kid to be, and that was a failure. And he said, how can I be a failure and I made $64 million and played 12 years in the league and bought a house for my mama when I was 18 years old on the golf course? And the thing that I've learned from him, because every day's a school day, for me at 67 years old, and I'm inspired by his example, and he's got a little circle around him that are actually building, that they are allowing me to plug some of my resources into. Because one thing I'm learning is you can't get on somebody else's wagon unless you bring in something to put on it. And he has allowed me to introduce him to the president of the National Association of Minority Contractors, Wendell Stimley, and my food producer, Adonijah.
Adonijah.
Yeah, because he got 50 acres on 3 different properties.
Oh, really?
And growing food locally is something we must immediately put laser focus on. Because when the pandemic started, we all found out how fragile our food supply is, number one. And that's the garbage they got in the stove. That's killing you in the first damn place. All right? Because when you look inside this whole notion of COVID-19, it's one of a trillion viruses that circulate throughout your body every day. You have trillions of cells that go to war with those viruses every day. A strong immune system, you win. A weak immune system is gonna be some sad singing and flower bringing. That's all it is.
That's right, Bobby. Let me ask you this question, man, about leadership. At what point did we begin to believe that leaders have to be perfect?
I don't have a specific date, but what we did.
I mean, you old, Bobby.
I get that, but see, that's the thing about it. What I believe about leadership now and what I thought leadership was then,
talk to me.
2 different things.
Yeah.
Back then, I thought a leader was whoever they told me was a leader, a preacher, a politician.
A position.
Right, you know.
Yeah.
And as I've grown older, one of the people that influenced me is Wendell Stimley, because he leads by example. This brother is a multimillionaire and he has employed thousands of people. And he told me, he said, Bobby, you can't lead people if you can't feed people. And Jim Brown had that same mentality when he started the HuriKane program. He said, the first thing I had to do was ask myself, how long and how strong will I be attached to this belief that you can affect positive change in the lives of people who are broken? And 35 years later, he still feels that way. And he started out by putting $300,000 of his own money. And since then, Jim has probably spent between $5 and $10 million keeping HuriKane alive. And I'm not speaking sucking hand, because I've seen this man get on planes and go and sign footballs and make personal appearances to make payroll. Jim made payroll for 30 years, no matter what, whether we had a contract or not. And in many instances, the people that he sold into wasn't ready for it. And I would marvel at how he didn't just walk away from it. But he said, Bobby, attrition is a part of the process.
Attrition is a part of the process. Can you speak more about attrition being a part of the process that ends at success?
Well, we've all started something.
Come on, man.
And got frustrated and disappointed and discouraged and came to the point where we almost quit. And for whatever reason, we didn't. And it's in that moment that you understand the price of freedom. It's far from free, because you have to make decisions and choices. One of my great friends, who was the narrator of my podcast, Westwood, the 3-time Emmy Award winning Keith David, he on his voice message, he says, And remember, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. So when you talk about attrition,
come on, man,
that's a part of it. I mean, you know, you can do only so much for a person and then accept the fact that that's all that you can do.
That's it.
And other people would say, well, man, you quit on them. No, they quit on themselves.
Right.
You
Realize that you can only do a supplementary part anyway.
That's it. That's it. That's
the bulk of
hard
the work
part.
and the heavy lifting, they got to do for themselves.
And I done, you know, bumped my head so many times thinking that I could have that kind of influence on human behavior that it was unrealistic, and it cost me a lot of treasure, time. And the one thing that I have really begun to appreciate, especially in the last couple of years, is I can waste a lot of things, including money.
But time?
Time is gone and it ain't coming back.
Hey,
so to answer your question, attrition is a natural part of the process. And you can't pick the winners from the losers. You just got to accept the inevitability that they will reveal themselves, whether they are the people that you need in your life and that you can help, or the people that need to fall off.
Right, right. Now talk to me about the quality of the company you keep as a reflection of your own quality.
Whoo, man.
Talk to me, Bobby.
That takes me back to the original Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talked about your mastermind group. And when I first read that book, I said, conceptually, I get it, but in my reality, I thought I could fudge on that.
Right.
See,
right.
You cannot have people around you that you have to struggle with.
Talk to me.
If you're going to try to do something historic, something game-changing. Those pieces fit organically, and either they fit or they don't.
Right.
And recognizing that is the hard part, because when we see people, we make physical assessments, we make social assessments,
right.
We make financial assessments, but if they don't feel the same way about you that you feel about them, you're gonna come up short.
And you're saying something very powerful, and correct me here. Struggling with, or not, choosing not to struggle with somebody is not the same as that person challenging you to be your best.
No, those are diametrically opposed.
Yeah, so, because I don't want the people to think that you mean if there's any hint of struggle, because you know this new generation, struggle is not fashionable, right? Michael and Quincy struggled. You know, they went at each other, but like you said, they were on the same page with each other and did something amazing.
Well, they feel the need that they both mutually understood. Michael needed the technical, creative, and influential
and guidance
power that Quincy brought to the table, and Quincy was looking for somebody that was driven, visionary, and extraordinarily talented.
Oh yeah.
And that's what brought them together, was their common interests. You don't always have to fit on all things, but the pieces that you need in that engine that you need to rev up and then be able to keep it to the flow without it, you know, the motor buckling, that's a whole different situation.
That's a whole different situation. Because oftentimes, man, I've heard it said this way, Bobby, you could correct me on this for sure. If the police see 10 guys in a car and only one of those brothers in that car is a physics major and the rest of them are gang members, they don't see 9 gang members and 1 physics major. They see 10 gang members. right? So choosing your circle and vetting that circle out. Bobby, how do these young men accept the wisdom of older men so that they can build circles that build them?
First thing is consistency. They have to know that you're not here today, gone today, because they live in a trend-driven society.
Right.
And so what's popular today, 2 weeks later, you know, it's something else. You know, like this TikTok thing.
Talk to me.
When I saw that TikTok, I was like, man, it's almost like they designed that for every freak And when I mean freak, I mean anybody
Come on,
that
Bobby.
would otherwise never appear on a screen.
Right.
Can't wait to do something to get on that TikTok.
Right.
Now I know they got other elements of TikTok, but that ain't what the algorithms, will
That
send
will
through my.
push
Oh yeah,
through. Yeah.
That shit end up on my damn Facebook page and shit. I'm like, what the hell is TikTok doing on my page? But people have this insatiable thirst to be seen, to be heard, and in some way acknowledged.
Right.
And we've gotten to a point where folks will do anything.
Right.
I mean anything to get that attention. Problem is it's unsustainable, and eventually it will have you on a path of ruination. That's how I see it over time, is that if it's not solid, you're gonna wish you never traveled on that path because you ain't going anywhere.
Nowhere. Now let me ask you, Bob, because first off, when I say Bobby is a reflection of his circle, I done told you Jim Brown, I done told you Jerry West, Keith David. You brought Keith David to my show once.
Right.
Who was my other brother from the Five Heartbeats? You brought him to the show too.
Hawthorne James.
Hawthorne James.
There's Harry Pickens. There's Julian Mendoza. Now there's Jaime Ochoa. But at the center of it is the people that I'm able to just really say I've got longevity with. And in September, it'll be actually, at the end of this month, actually, I met Jerry West.
Oh.
And I talked to Jerry yesterday, and I constantly remind him, and sometimes it makes him uncomfortable because he thinks that, I'm just shining on. He don't think I'm shining on, it just makes him uncomfortable.
Right.
I constantly tell him, man, I appreciate your friendship. Because I've seen this man share things with me that I'll never tell to people that I can make a lot of money off of it.
Right.
And I've shared things with him that he didn't judge me on.
Right.
Flaws that I've had in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I told Jerry, I said, look, man, I'm getting ready to do this boxing podcast. And I'd like for you to be a recurring guest, And he said, man, you really, your timing is good, man, because this is my last season, in professional basketball. And I'm tired of sitting here at the house, And I'm like, man, we get ready to get out there, man, because it's not just the basketball podcast. It's things like, bringing him by here and letting him just chop it with us, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, he was real.
Because he came to the studio when you was in Hollywood,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm just so appreciative of a circle that includes people that you might know as a celebrity, but not to me.
Right.
These are just great people that allow me to be me. And I know a lot of people that should feel that way about me that don't. And I'm doing addition by subtraction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At this stage of my life.
Yeah. And I bring that up because the other day I'm in the cigar lounge, my normal hangout. I go to the cigar lounge and I see Sam Watson, the face of boxing. Now, I ain't seen Sam since we did that, since RMC.
Right.
As soon as I walked in, Sam Watson said, that nigga right there, that nigga. I said, whoa, what's going on? And he remembered, he was like, Bobby. I was like, yeah, Bobby. I said, Bobby, be in here. He was like, oh, man. And the thing that blew me away was your response when you called me back and you said, man, what did you do to Sam?
Right.
I said, I didn't do nothing to Sam.
Right.
So that kind of threw me. And when you start seeing, man, solid cats run with solid cats.
And power of association, because that was an affirmation of who you were.
Yeah.
In my life, because he made that assessment of you. Right. Because he was like, okay, whoever brought him over there, he didn't know you was gonna be there.
No.
You see what I mean? And then it mushroomed into something else, because the owners of the cigar lounge ended up coming to the fight that we went to.
Yeah.
And that was the first fight that I'm gonna tell y'all something about Zoe Williams, man. This guy really lives in a bubble. Because I'm like, you have never been to a fight, man? He said, no, man, I ain't never been to no fight. I don't go out, Bobby. And then the more I thought about it, he doesn't really socialize that much, you know, except in his very, very small little circle. And so we get to the fight, and it was people that recognized you and stuff, and it was like, wow, man, you know, you made your mark, man, you know, between ZoWhat Morning Show and
Corey
Mansions
Show
and 5150,
yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. People recognize you, and I'm like, damn, more people recognize him than they do me out here tonight.
No, Bobby, come on. They saw us both out there like them too. But no,
and it was just cool, man, being in that space, because you know who Sam is, and you know the nature of our friend. I've known Sam for over 30 years, and I've watched him blossom into one of the most influential people in America and parts of the world, because of his association with entertainment and sports, particularly boxing and concerts.
Right.
And so for us to be sitting there, once again, watching what he has put together, and then last week I went to Vegas for the Pacquiao-Ugas fight, and it was supposed to be Pacquiao-Errol Spence.
Yeah.
And to see, once again, the power that this brother has and the people that he allows to eat from it.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's going to assist with the production of Counterpunch, which is the project that lay dormant due to the pandemic that I was going to do with Russell Peters, the comedian. And now we've reconfigured that, and ironically, I ran into the former middleweight champion and super middleweight champion of the world, Michael Second to None, last night.
Yeah,
you know, just show you how, you know, that which you seek purely in your heart is also seeking you. Because he hadn't seen Sam in 20 years. And I told him, I said, man, that's my guy, man. And so he'll be one of the guests that I have on my show, because he's been on a very circuitous journey. Had a great, you know, boxing career, fought for many years, and then, you know, didn't take care of his money, mismanagement, et cetera, and ended up going to the penitentiary for about 15 years. And he got out in 1919. And it's about, you know, showing all elements of a person's journey. You know, we try to eliminate the missteps.
Right.
When that's where the lessons are.
Come on, man.
See, because getting knocked down is not the problem.
That's par for the course.
Yeah, and if you get comfortable down there,
then you're a bona fide loser.
What did Bobby Womack say? I like to help a man when he's down, but I can't help you if you lay down there on the ground.
Oh,
you got to get up, man.
See?
You got to get up.
So Bobby, talk to me, because what I recognize in your crew, they want to help you do what you do, right? They spread the wealth with you.
Yeah.
You come to them with a plan, an idea, a concept.
Right.
Like that Westward. I remember you sent me the first episode. I said, damn, I said, Bobby, this shit gonna be big.
Right.
Like, you know.
And you knew damn well I didn't put that shit together.
I listened to it, I said, this shit? Bobby, yeah, man. This shit about to come out. I listened to the whole episode. Yeah. And I said, oh shit, that's new in the background. Right. You can hear it. I said, what the fuck? I said, Bobby, this is gonna be big. But what I recognize is, especially people of a certain ilk in life, they tend to not waste time on things that don't bring some level of meaning and gratification to them. When you call Jerry West, you called him when my son was at Santa Monica High School playing against Beverly Hills High, and he showed up and told all the media row, don't come talk to me. Don't say nothing. I reckon when you ask people to do things, they did it. You got Jerry on the Westward podcast. You got your brother Keith David to do the voiceover, and he's an Emmy nominated.
No, not nominated. He done won 3 Emmys.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course, Bobby, I got you. So I'm looking at you as a model. In our younger generations of young men, I see that the balance is off. Too much envy, too much competition for us to be facilitating each other's loaves of bread. How do we get the young kids, young black men, to have those kind of monarch building relationships that you have benefited from?
Well, I had to complete this leg of the journey because you can't ask people to do something that you're not totally in control of yourself. So that's I done got to the point where I finally committed to trusting who I am.
Yeah.
And getting to a point where I don't just articulate it.
Right.
I can reach back and say, hey, come on, man. And here are the conditions.
Right.
You see, and you have to establish the conditions, but you have to be in a position to establish the conditions, or you really can't keep them connected to you long enough for them to see that this is real and it's worth it, because perceived value is a concept that's lost on the black community because we don't know what capital is for real. See, because you use the terms fiat currencies and all of that. That has driven people to be attracted to something that they don't have control over, number one. And it devalues them because they don't think they're worth anything.
Unless they have it.
Right.
Right.
But if your word means something, I mean, that was a situation where when we started doing Westward, and the suits that my partner Paul Cuscieri, who wrote the movie about New Orleans that I was telling you about, this came out a few months ago with Terrence Howard and all of those cats, man.
Right.
Damn, man.
Wait, think about it for a second, Bobby. Just think about it for 1 second.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Too much good game, too much wisdom. Y'all gotta hit the like button. Do us a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the super chat. Show your appreciation for this. Show your appreciation for the show. Sarah, you got any questions for Bobby too?
I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Good.
I like when I'm from the South, when grown men talking.
You gotta sit down and we all from the South. Go ahead, Bobby. Did you remember the movie?
Paul Cuscieri is an amazing guy. He's from Detroit originally. And I met him the way I was supposed to meet him. I was in a meeting with Big U about possibly doing a book about, that was right after Nipsey had got killed. And
somebody in here is telling us the name here. It says the movie Us.
No. It's
Cutthroat City.
Cutthroat City.
There you go.
Cutthroat City.
The movie is Cutthroat City.
Yeah, he wrote the screenplay for that.
Nice.
And he's got some incredible things happening. But what we both underestimated as we began to realize we had some common interests is the factor of race. And being a part of the establishment. Right. Because his agent represented a wide range of people, including Dan Patrick. All right? And so he assumed that all of the pieces that were coming together for Westward were coming through Paul. And he's like, oh, that's nice. You got the little old colored boy you're going to let eat a little bit, you see? And he had it all backwards, right? Right. And as we went through the process, because I remember sitting in this guy's office in Beverly Hills, and he had a copy of T.D. Jake's book that he produced, Ricky Smiley's book, and then a number of prominent white people. So he all read back, I'm such and such and such. His name is Paul Anderson, fuck him, And at first, I kind of noticed that he was probably,
a little different.
Yeah.
We'll just say a little different, that's all.
I said, I hope this don't turn into no problem. And that became less of a problem than his liberal, racist attitude. Because for me, liberals are harder to deal with than conservatives.
Keep going.
Because the conservative gonna flat out say, look, man, bottom line, up or down. But liberals tend to want to pat you on the head and oh, look, poor, disenfranchised Negro, let me throw you a bone. You know, and I'm like, I didn't come here for that. Right. And so I began to notice that he didn't respect me. And I'm like, man, all right. And as we got into the project, he saw that he couldn't get around me because the first time Jerry came in the studio, Jerry got there before I did, and all the suits that the money boys are sitting over in the corner trying to figure out how this thing is fitting together and who's really doing what. And Jerry was like, we ain't talking too much till Bobby get here. And that kind of threw them off, right? Because they thought Paul was the connection to Jerry.
Right.
Even though Paul had told him, my Paul.
Right.
And he was like, Bobby, I keep telling him, man, you know, you the straw that's stirring the drink. And so I get
straw
there.
that's stirring the drink.
I get there and so you heard that on the last episode, the bonus, the 12 episode, and Jerry was like, yeah, Bobby, who are these motherfuckers? Jerry was going on.
But see, that goes back to what we talking about earlier with regard to just manhood in general.
Yeah.
Jerry West is Jerry West. And you know how white people are when they get around each other. Sometimes they be like, we low-key on the same team.
Right, right.
But Jerry West is on Bobby team. That's what listen, he told Bobby when Bobby came, when you brought him to the game, first he told the Los Angeles Times and all the reporters, don't talk to me about nothing. I'm not here for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we sat down, he said, Bobby, let me talk to Zo.
Right.
But they have that relationship where you start to understand there's a protocol and almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? The protocol is the word, but there's a way of doing things that gives respect to both men that's involved. You understand?
Yeah, and it's rooted in your common experiences.
Yeah.
Jerry's always been uncomfortable with me calling him a nigga. You know, and I tell Jerry, I said, Jerry, you are a nigga. You know you a nigga.
Well, his name is Jerome. I ain't never seen a white man named Jerome. Shit, his name Jerome.
And he grew up in West Virginia, and West Virginia is like Beverly Hills compared to growing up in Tennessee, man. Jerry grew up P.O., not poor, po.
Oh, I know what it is.
He went through psychological abuse, physical abuse, and just abject poverty.
Right.
And it molded him in a way that people don't understand why he has not been able to really appreciate his success. Because the one person that he wanted to approve of his accomplishments never did, his father. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us can relate to that. Right. And so we connected on levels that most people that ain't been through those kind of social and economic situations can't understand. And I would tell Jerry, I said, Jerry, you know you're a nigga, man. He'd be like, Bobby, you know, I don't use that word. I said, well, you done told me about being with the Hiltons and the Rockefellers and all them people, and they talk about niggas all the time.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's different, Bobby, but I don't want people to get the wrong impression, man. I said, Jerry, you know you really don't give a fuck, you know, and I don't need it, man, what people think, because there's a lot of people think I'm carrying your suitcase for you or some shit, you know.
Right.
And they can kiss my ass, because the same people ain't did a goddamn thing to help me do nothing.
Right.
So we both gonna take our lumps, you know, and be what it is and go on about our business, man, because we go places sometime and he'll have to literally keep people from stepping over my feet, you know, to get to him.
Wait,
you know.
Wait, you got to tell him about that time you was at the Clipper game.
Oh,
and
man.
The security. You got to tell him, and then I'm going to ask my next series of questions, because I got some more questions. But you got to tell him that time you was at the Clipper game, and the security was like, hey.
Oh, man. it was ridiculous, man, because I had called Jerry, and because I was sitting in a nice section for my friend Kevin McDowell from AEG, right? Mm-hmm. He got season tickets. And I'm sitting in his seats, and but it still ain't where I called Jerry, and I said, man, I got my partner with me, Larry Earl, who I do business with, and he said, well, come down at halftime, right? So we started walking from the back of that particular section that leads you to the floor, and people is looking at us on the way down like, that ain't Denzel, and then where them niggas going?
Wait, what?
You know?
That ain't Denzel
and
then
them? By the time we get to the floor, the security guard jumps up. Oh, what are y'all doing down here? What are y'all doing? And I pointed to Jerry, and Jerry pointed to the guy. The guy didn't seem to get it. And next thing you know, he's, you know, kicking up a little dust. And I said, man, you better go over there and talk to Jerry, man. You know. And then Jerry looked at him and said, you know, we talked to Jerry for doing the halftime, right? And everybody in that, you know, 10,000 per seat section was like, what the hell is going on?
That
right. And then as we
Who
turned,
is that man?
and as we turned to go back to our seats, this one woman got up and spoke for the whole section. She said, excuse me. She got out of her seat and got in the aisle, right? Excuse me, who are you? I said, my name is Bobby GLANTON-SMITH. She said, who are you?
But who are you? Not what your name is.
Everybody in this section got the same goddamn question. How did you spend halftime talking to the logo? And I was like, lady, you got to go and ask Jerry.
You got to go talk to Jerry.
You know? And the people just follow us with their eyes all the way up to the seats, man. And it was just the most surreal experience I think I've ever had in my life, man.
And I love you giving us context about Jerry's upbringing and hell, your upbringing, my upbringing, right?
Right.
Is it a prerequisite that you must be fallen in some way, broken, hurt, damaged in some way, in order to become a leader, in order to become self-realized, in order to become powerful?
No. The answer is no.
Talk to me.
Leadership at its finest is organic. Mm-hmm. You didn't, start out to be a leader. Mm-hmm. You just ended up in a situation where you had a set of skills that enough people found confidence and value in that you had to step into that breach. And I'm telling you, man, that's a heavy responsibility that a lot of people shirk away from because they're uncomfortable being in that spotlight.
Yeah.
Now, there are people who live for that, but they're not built for that.
Right.
And that's what we stuck with right now. You just look around at the people who are on television, and the question that we do not ask them is, what problems are you solving?
Within yourself.
Yeah.
Not just everybody else, but start with you. What problems have you conquered within you?
Not even that. What I'm talking about is you are a city councilman. You are a state senator.
Yeah.
You are a congressperson. All right. Now, while you've been in office the last 35, 40 years, how many people's lives have been positively changed because of your quote-unquote leadership? And you look around the United States right now, and you will find that there are some people that we should have horse-whipped because of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Talk to me, Bobby.
How the hell could you call yourself a leader and submit to a piece of legislation that's got to be renewed every 10 years? It's 2021. I think in 2025, they're going to decide once again whether or not we got the right to vote. Meanwhile, since 65, they done stripped the Voting Rights Act bare.
Wow.
To the point where they don't, in some places, they're going to have, I think it's in Milwaukee, because of some legislation they done jerry-rigged and whatnot, they only going to have one polling place.
Look at that.
They got Negro driving 200 miles to vote.
Right.
It's about 30 states now that have revised the voting requirements and all this old kind of stuff. And it comes back to who's representing us. I just came from over at the Venus and Serena tennis park within Rancho Park, right?
By the way, Bobby can play some goddamn tennis.
Oh, I'm one of the best. Them niggas hate to see me coming, man. I was out there today. Them motherfuckers like,
Bobby said we should get together and do the basketball game again. I said, Bobby, I'm done. I ain't gonna never play. See, Bobby remind me a lot like my son. My son get around 15, 16, I'm like, oh, I can't handle this little motherfucker. So I beat my son, I think the last time he was 14, and I was gassed, I was winded. And Marcus King leaned over and said, hey man, in 6 months you ain't gonna be able to beat him. I said, that's why I'm never going to play him again.
I'm glad you mentioned him.
I'm never gonna play you again, Bobby.
I want Marcus' ass. That's who I want. He done talked enough shit where he got something coming. But
Venus and Serena.
Venus and Serena, they have demolished the old gym and that whole corner all the way down to you go from Obama Boulevard to La Brea, right?
Yeah.
They're putting up a structure that's probably somewhere around $100 million. And they're a year into the project. And that's Mark Ridley Thomas's district.
Another career.
All right, and I ain't seen a black person holding a sign, a shovel in their hand. And see, those are state funds and local funds, and some federal funds.
Right.
If we had leadership, at least a third of the working force out there at prevailing wages. See, here's what people don't understand. White people get paid to learn how to become tradesmen because they get in the apprenticeship program, and sometimes that's not even the apprenticeship program. Their father was in the business, and he brought them in through association. So they start out making $40 an hour to learn how to become a guy that makes $200 an hour. All right, because they doing a lot of steel work out there. And I'm watching all this money go on out there, and I'm like, where are my people? And then you ride around the greater Los Angeles area, Inglewood, all you see is cranes everywhere.
You know in Inglewood it's
but
going up.
you need a telescope to find a Negro working any goddamn where on any of these job sites. And I'm saying, where is the leadership?
Right.
My guy, Wendell Stimley, he worked on the SoFi Stadium. He's been at the airport in 2 different terminals for 15 years.
And there were some brothers on that SoFi project.
That was his people.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And he's gonna get work on the new stadium that Obama is gonna build in Inglewood. The point I'm making is, I want my people to really start to ask some questions. If you call yourself a follower of somebody, how have they enriched your lives on a personal? If they ain't done nothing to help your life get better, then you need to get off that wagon quickly as possible.
Right. Because you got to ask the question, are you there to be entertained? Or are you there to be enriched? Or are you there to be both? And if you're getting some of both, then your life is getting better by being there, right?
That makes sense.
But if you're getting none of it,
then you just a spectator to somebody else, living well.
Come on, man.
And I've seen us root for people and then turn around like, damn, I ain't gonna be able to watch the game next year because they done cutting my cable off because I can't afford it,
Right. You rooting on the wrong end.
I'm telling you, man. And so I'm gonna go full circle to the local economy. It ain't just that politics are local, everything is local. See, we project out into what's going on in D.C. when you don't even realize that you done voted for the president every year for the last 50 years, but you didn't vote for the city commissioner,
councilman,
and the
mayor,
parks and rec and all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
And that's where the action is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need a dramatic paradigm shift. And I'm gonna turn the direction of this conversation back to you.
Oh no, Bobby. Hey, the name of this damn show today is Mansions. Me and Bobby. Bobby called me and said, "Hey man, what you talking about?" I said, "Bobby, I don't know, but come." Bobby said, "I don't think I'm gonna come today. You gotta give me a topic." I said, "Bobby, just come anyway."
And the reason is because I wanted to begin to practice what I preach, in terms of the things that I'm passionate about. One of which is, the products that you mentioned earlier that you've been using and supporting for a number of years. Whatever works for you, works for you. And I can look at you and tell something's going right. Or you've been, I've been viewing you like this right here. And I done been to enough funerals lately to know that some people just ain't took care of themselves.
Right.
But in addition to the products that he had mentioned, I would like for everybody to at least have a conversation with Russell Harrison. The name of his company, his website is www.russellherbal, RUSSELLHERBALS.com. This brother is on the level with Dr. Saban.
Really?
He's 72 years old. He used to play professional football.
Can you pull that website up, Sarah? What's Russell?
Herbals.
Herbals.
Yeah. And he tore his knee up when he was with the Rams in his second season. And it made him curious about the human body because they butchered his operation and it basically ended his career.
Yeah.
And he became a student of the human body. And along the way, he began to produce his own line of products. And by the time I met him through Adonijah, I was already sold on the body being capable of healing itself.
Yes.
And he gave me some herbs that helped address some issues that I was having. And then I brought a friend of mine to him, and he was experiencing kidney failure. And he didn't know he was experiencing kidney failure because I didn't know he was experiencing kidney. He walked in the office with me, and my man just looked at him and he told him, he said, I know what your problem is. Your kidneys is failing. And I'm like, how could you just look at this man? Because he was light-skinned, but he had done started getting darker. You know what I mean? To the point where certain of his extremities were damn near black. And he had just swole up, right? He said, man, you're in a world of trouble, man. And he said, I can help you. And he did help him. And then convention kicked back in. When it came time to make that next commitment, you know, dietary change, the whole thing. What we have failed to understand as human beings is, you can eat what you want to eat, but your body is gonna let you know that, you know, keep it up.
Keep fucking up.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
No, that's real talk.
Yeah,
that's
keep
real
it
talk.
up. And so he has been someone he's like a big brother to me. Like I say, he's 72 years old. He got a 30-year-old girlfriend. And that tells you all you need to know. You know
that tells you all you need to know. He got a 30-year-old girlfriend and he's 72.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, man, she walked in front of you half the time. So that's all you need to know.
Bobby, you was on that show. wait. Bobby was on that show, that ZoWhat Show with me, him, and Dr. Sabi. At that time, Dr. Sabi had said, man, I'm 83 years old. I just had a baby. Whoa. So no, that's real talk right there. Hey, Bobby, we gotta save young men.
Yeah.
We gotta save the modern day black man.
From himself.
From himself and from society. Now, oftentimes I've heard brothers from a generation before mine, or maybe 2 generations before mine, say, we dropped the ball. Bobby, how do we pick the ball up and bridge the gap? Because a lot of the youngsters are disconnected, and now not only disconnected from what wisdom we might impart, but also disconnected from the desire to connect.
Great question, very timely, because I was listening to Kwame Brown. It's buslife.com is Kwame Brown.
Yes.
And he was talking about this young rapper who has heard him talk about, you know, owning shit, right? And this young brother, after seeing that Kwame is being legitimate with his thing, has acquired 100 acres, and he's going to build a studio on his property. He's also going to grow food. You know, you've been listening.
You've been listening,
so
paying attention.
The answer to your question directly is, you have to keep giving people lanes that they can merge into. You see what I mean? You can't just get them excited at a seminar or a workshop or something like that. You have to have something to plug them into that's viable and sustainable. And then they'll ride it out. They'll ride it out. So the key now, again, is staying on course, continue to make the contributions that you make, and then pass the ball to somebody like me, and then I'll bring somebody else to the table, and then you all of a sudden, you got experts who have already, they ain't speculating about what they doing, they're already doing it. That's the key to breaking this cycle, man. That's the key to it, man.
Because it's important, because black manhood has been under attack well before I was born, well before you were born. But in today's modern society, I don't think I've ever seen it at this level.
No one has.
No one has ever seen this
level.
No one,
but then like you said, what's the solution to that? First, we have to assume responsibility.
Yeah, okay, talk to me
That's
about
very uncomfortable
Yeah.
to admit that you played a part in the setback of your people.
Come on.
It's hard to do that, but nothing's gonna get better until you admit that you made some mistakes. As a father, I failed miserably. And certain things, if I had to do over again, I would do over again. Now, I couldn't fix the relationship with my ex, but my best way to put it is,
Just go
I
ahead,
should have
Bobby.
fought harder.
Look at that.
You know, instead of taking it emotionally. You know, I looked at it emotionally and said, you know what, I'm gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. And that's basically what I did. You know, I just said, fuck it. You know what I mean? Because she just was gonna be how she was gonna be about it. Hurt people. And I just couldn't get her to understand that, look, I see what's coming, and before I get any further into this, because I be done hurt you. You see what I mean? Knowing what is getting ready to happen and is happening already in terms of your emotional attachment to something that is not realistic. Me and you just ain't gonna be together because I don't like you.
Man,
and you don't like
real.
me.
Man,
I love you, but I can't stand your ass, you know? And you can't stand me. You want me to be somebody else. But here we got this baby though.
Right.
You know, and so that part I wish I'd have been more diligent about in terms of learning the laws and that kind of thing and fighting harder. Knowing that the consequences I feared the most were real. Right. And now I see that it wasn't just me. It was a whole generation of cats that didn't understand how important it was to stay in your kids' lives, no matter how difficult it was gonna be. And so that's one of the things that we have to do is just make that confession. And then don't throw that in my face no more.
Don't do that.
Because I'm not living in that moment no more, and I'm not gonna let you carry me there. But what I see now is the necessity of reaching out to these young men, and every chance you get, the young ladies. And you know, because some of this stuff, I'm wondering if it's a trend or if it's actually physical.
Is it real?
You see what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
Because this thing where people seem to be experimenting with their sexuality, and women going with women and men going with men, some of that's real, but how much of it is this trend thing that we're into right
Popular.
now? You know,
this is how you get accepted.
Right.
This is how doors open up for you, the whole nine.
And then you factor into that the economics of it, because over the last 30 years, we have witnessed the decline of economic opportunities for black males. Because if you're a business owner and you're trying to fit into what they consider to be the modern way of doing business, you know, diversity, you can take a black woman and check all the boxes.
Right.
And she can get caught up in the fact that I'm making more money than you, so I'm the boss. Well, you the boss of you, but you ain't gonna never be the boss of me. That ain't gonna
God
happen,
damn it.
man.
Did you hear me?
That
You
just
ain't
ain't
gonna
gonna happen.
never.
And it's not gonna be necessary for us to compete like that. You see what I
Right.
mean? Because if we compete like that, then everybody
Then
loses.
it ain't working anyway.
Everybody's losing, man, you know. And that's the biggest challenge right now is how do we mend the fences that have clearly been broken in terms of relationships between brothers and sisters. Right. You see what I mean? And it has affected the children and the grandchildren, and we didn't get an opportunity to have those kind of relationships that it makes all the difference in the kid's life, because they get a sense of security and clarity.
Right.
When they look at the chain and it's boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And they know where they fit in that equation.
Right.
Instead of jumping all these steps and running around like they running shit. You ain't running nothing till you in your own house. And you still ain't running shit if you got to keep running back to me every time you get in trouble.
Come on.
You see what I mean? So, and if you can't help them, then you really ain't shit. Well, wait a minute. You didn't come to me.
If I can help you.
Right. See, now we ain't having that kind of ready teller situation. You know what I mean?
Tell them, Bobby.
All the time you show up when you need something. Oh, hell no. See, I done been through all that shit with my great niece, my great nephews, and one of my nephews. Whew, man, and it's just, you know, if you don't get them early, man, it's problematic, man, because they have this expectation that you're supposed to solve their fucking problems. And it comes from the fact that their mama left that impression that, well, you know your daddy ain't shit, and it's like, well, wait a minute, Mom. If he ain't shit, how'd I get here?
Right. How did you?
Did he rape me? Did he rape you?
Was your nose not working? You couldn't smell the shit? What happened? Your nose shut off when he came?
Come on, man. I mean, so it's gonna take some honesty on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, and we don't have any more time to waste because it's just too many things going on that are unsustainable in a time when white people have realized that the numbers are not working for them no more.
Right.
And so they're jerry-rigging every element of opportunity to sustain themselves.
Right.
And if I was white, I'd be doing the same thing.
Because you're
I'm
protecting
white,
your
you
own.
know, that's right, you know. So we're the only people that don't seem to understand the importance of protecting our lineage and our culture and making sure that we understand what that culture is, because we get confused with being colored, Negro, black. See, I started out colored. Proud of it. I'm colored, yeah. And they let me know. Colored. You see that sign there? You follow that sign. Anytime you see that C, that's where you go. You see that W, pew! You better head toward that C. And next thing you know, we Negroes. Then we black. And here comes Jesse Jackson with that African-American shit. And it's like, wait a minute. Which one of those has a country that I'm tied to?
That have diplomats that correspond with this country.
Right.
Come on, man. Come on, Bobby.
We out here on this island, man.
On an island.
I'm like, man, y'all got this shit fucked up, all right?
And how can we be out here on an island at war with each other? Come on, Bobby, talk to me, man.
We hustling backwards.
We're hustling backwards.
It's just that simple, man. And we done ran out of time to play these kinds of games because of everything that's going on. Because right now, for example, you know, black people put all their stock in Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Right.
And now Joe Biden act like he got
amnesia
dementia now.
He got amnesia.
He's somewhere. What? Who voted for me? Oh, I don't even know them niggas. I don't know none of them niggas.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, we don't understand that you got to have skin in the game, man. I mean, if you didn't put no money in that man's pot, then you so far down on the list of requests that it ain't even, you know, it's laughable.
Right.
And like I just heard today, things not going well in Afghanistan. This is the 4th president. We have wasted probably about $10 trillion of money to make sure that heroin got to America.
Come on. Okay, Bobby.
We'll have that conversation.
Come on, have the conversation, Bobby. Just go ahead.
And that's bipartisan. All right.
They both in on it.
You goddamn right.
Both sides is in on it. It's purple.
I
It's not red and blue. It's purple now.
Because that heroin became the new wealth generator in America, because the pharmaceutical company said, look, it ain't no money in curing nobody. So if you got a pain, we're gonna create a pill for your every ill. And before you know it, swaths of the country was hooked on Oxycontin and that other shit, man. And it's like, they got you smiling, but I'm telling you, boy, you're gonna have that painful rip in your upper hip here in a minute, you know. That's what it go. That Jones gonna come down on you, boy.
And our people don't understand. Our people want to see the end result. The end result is, I showed up to the Audi dealer or the Mercedes Benz or Maybach dealer, and I bought this and I'm flossing, right?
Yeah.
We want the end result.
Right.
You don't understand that a government such as ours will look at Afghanistan and say, heroin is like oil in the Middle East.
It's exactly what it is.
That's a crop. That's a medical crop that we can commoditize. People, we looking at we looking at it the wrong way. For me, Bobby, when I sit here and I had this conversation with you, and we've had these conversations many, many times, I'm gonna ask you this question because people need to hear it from you. The definition of manhood, right? Back in the day, you saw Malcolm, you saw Ali, hell, you saw Joe Frazier.
Great man.
You saw, Joe Frazier was a great, he don't get a lot of credit. Joe Frazier was a great man.
In many ways, he was Ali's equal and a better example of a man's man. Because he was never confused about who he was. He worked hard his whole life to support his family.
Yes.
And he took care of his family.
Yeah. Not
that Ali didn't.
Right.
But Ali went through 3-4 wives. Okay? And that's not a knock on Ali. That's just Ali was Ali. And the things that Ali did will stand the test of time, because when other people shied away from sacrifice for the people, he stood up.
Right. So again, for me, having fallen is prerequisite to the rise.
Right.
I think you have to be fallen to some degree, flawed. You have to go through something in order to
I agree
ascend.
with that, yeah.
So, but those are our Malcolm, those are our definitions of manhood.
But that's flawed, because they're the people that you knew in your community that you could go to for advice, if you needed a little financial help.
Right.
And sometimes they was on the other side of society.
On the other side, I understand.
In my hometown, it was Elmo Gaines and Jim Taylor and Snap Eye, them kind of cats, man.
Snap Eye.
Yeah, Snap Eye. Snap Eye get your ass out of jail, because, we didn't have no black bondsmen per se, but, the guy that ran the numbers and that kind of thing, they always had that kind of cash. And when we didn't have integration, before integration, so they didn't, separate but equal was some bullshit.
Right.
So we didn't have equipment to play baseball and stuff like that. So they would buy the uniform
Right.
kind of stuff. So we need to broaden the definition of manhood.
Well, I was about to ask you, has the definition changed, or does it fit this generation of black men that's coming up? How we define the Malcolms, the Martins, the Alis, the Fraziers, how we define them, does that definition fit the young African-American men that are growing up today? Or does it have to be modified?
It has to be modified because, like I said, it became exclusionary back then because we left out the real men.
Talk to me.
The real men are the pillars in your community. They don't make a whole lot of noise, but if you connected to the community, you know who solves problems. Okay? Those are the real cornerstones of a nation. It's the folks that ain't out there grandstanding all the time, making a lot of noise. It's the people behind the scenes that if you got a kid that need a job or something, if he can't hire them directly, he can steer them to somebody. And if you having a problem, you can go talk to them and say, look, man, over here on such block, man, they wilding out.
Right.
See, and we done got so far removed from that we have no control of the streets anymore.
And that's crazy, man, because that exact example you gave me, a friend of mine at the cigar lounge gave me that warning.
What? What
He said,
warning?
hey, man, something went down between some hoods around your neighborhood where your family, hey, be careful, because situation it's a little tense right now.
And you got to know who to go talk to,
And
man.
and it's good to have that.
You got to, baby, to survive. I was on the phone with you just a couple weeks ago. The cat shot that boy 3 times right in front of me, man. You know?
You was walking in the door saying, hey, so hold on, I got to call you back. Bobby, get out the line of fire, man. Said that dude just shot somebody walking in the house.
Man.
So yeah, you
got to know the neighborhood, because immediately I made a couple phone calls. Because I know this little Mexican dude in the neighborhood to keep up with everything, man. He told me, he said, yeah, man, such and such, such and such, boom, boom, boom. And that lets me know that the upside is we've been rid of a menace in the neighborhood. Because he can't come back no more.
Okay.
You see the man?
That's the upside.
He's done,
May I ask a question about it?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. Why do you think that young men now really don't value life, yet at the same time want to live their best life?
Wow, that's almost an oxymoron to me.
Exactly.
And I understand the complexities of that question. When you don't have leadership and direction in your immediate space, you start looking for your own reality. And it works for a short period of time because people don't bother you. They try to stay as far away from you as they can get. And both parties suffer because the people that can teach young people a better life are scared of them, and the young people don't respect them. So it's a really, really serious problem. And the same way that we got into it is the same way we can get out of it. and that is not trying to do everything overnight, accepting responsibility for the fact that it is a mess, and then taking decisive steps and actions to change what is an untenable situation. We cannot continue to live like this, bottom line.
And that's the truth. That is the absolute truth. As a man of 2 boys, I had to be blatantly honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew if I cut the corners on what I told them, it could put them in a life or death situation based off of some falsehood I shared.
Right.
So again, the way we raise our sons, we got to raise the streets.
You have to, man. They one and the same.
They
man.
one and the same because your son's going to be in the streets.
You can't get around it, man, because it's in every corner. You know, you might be just trying to get to school. But in order to get to school, you run into some people that done dropped out of school.
Yeah.
And they have a total, like you mentioned in your question, why are they so reckless?
Yeah.
Well, if somebody hadn't given you examples of why life is sacred and valuable, then you'll drive down the street like they doing now. You know, like, what difference do it make? Don't nobody give a shit, and I want to be seen. What? Out there doing donuts in the middle of the street. Then they had a situation a couple weeks ago where somebody lost control of the car and killed some folks.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, it's a wonder it don't happen more often than it do.
Right.
You know, and for us to sit back and say, you know what? Some of us should have, when they first started that stuff, went to those same corners and shut them down.
We're not doing this over
Y'all
here.
not having this, man. My grandmama live around the corner, man. And she can't even sleep, man, because y'all out here with these goddamn loud-ass fucking cars going nowhere, burning up gas because you done got your little PPE card, you know, and you done bought up all of the gold at the swap meet, and the gig coming to a close. No, really, man.
Right.
They ran out of gold at the Slauson swap meet when that PPE.
Are you serious?
Man, look at here, man. Wow.
When the PPP checks drop, the Slauson swap meet ran out of gold.
Man.
And that ain't even 100% pure gold.
Right, ran out of gold, man. Ran out of gold. So it's just so much going on that because when I was in Vegas this past weekend, and this is gonna sound elitist, but that was the first time in 30 years of me going to fights through Sam that I was in the lobby of the MGM. And I seen LaQuisha and BOBBBY and all of up in there, man, and they done got swole up off that PPE money, but they done made enough of it, man, to get a suite at the MGM, man. I said, oh, Lord Jesus.
What is BOBBBY and them doing here?
And then a buddy of mine said he had been to Miami recently, and it was the same thing, man. But here's the problem. That gig is up the end of this month, man.
Uh-oh.
That's, you know, started out that $600 bonus per week.
Yeah.
When Trump was in. Then they cut it to $300.
Yeah.
Now it's getting ready to go back to what it really is.
Okay. No more seafood platters.
And I done noticed in some neighborhoods, some of them Dodge Chargers ain't charging no more. Because them niggas put about 10 grand down on it, and they forgot about the rest of them notes. You see what I mean? And we got to get ready for a rough ride here in a minute, because if you don't work, you gonna steal.
If you don't work, you gonna steal.
Or kill if you have to.
You ain't got the courage to steal
From
the
them
other
other
folks.
It's gonna happen in the neighborhood, man.
You gonna steal from your own.
It's gonna get rough, man. I'm telling you, man. And it's unfortunate that we have not had these kind of conversations outside of it in this setting. You see, because everybody gonna ask, oh my God, I didn't see it coming. Well, you supposed to saw it coming.
Oh, I have another question. Do you think that is a problem, that there are more masks in the hood than condoms?
Huh?
Wow. She said, do you think there's a problem that there are more masks that cover our faces, protect us from the pandemic in the hood than there are condoms?
That's a loaded question.
Come on, Bobby, share it with us, man.
That's a loaded question. Truth is this, both of them serve a purpose to some degree, and that's speculative. But you can have all the condoms you said, the case depends on, I guess, the frequency, because at some point, those condoms ain't foolproof. They never have been, never will be. So if you're thinking just because you got on a condom that you ain't gonna get a girl pregnant, I got news for you. You know, if she want to get pregnant, she gonna get you to take that condom off any damn way. I seen it happen to enough of these athletes. You know, oh man, she said she wanted to go raw. I was like, well, okay. Man, you know why your check just changed.
She want to go raw, take her to get some sushi.
So that's my best answer to your question is, it's a hard question to answer because there are no absolutes in this modern world we're in, because they keep trying to tell you and scare you to death with, if you don't do this, you're gonna die, and if you do this, you're gonna live, and then 6 months later they gotta come back and tell you that, well, we got a revision, you're going to come and get another shot. And matter of fact, just keep your sleeve rolled up.
No, just keep your sleeve
now,
up.
now watch this though, Bobby. Flip it the other way. When you see somebody, say like that man who needed those herbs to get his life turned around because he was light-skinned and his extremities is turning dark and he blow swole up because his kidney's about to fail. That's poor management of his body.
That's the number one problem.
Right? Yeah. You could say the same thing for not wearing that damn condom. That mask is not foolproof. That condom is not foolproof. But it does provide a modicum of protection.
No question about it. So I didn't want to give the impression that I was saying you shouldn't use the condom. I'm just saying that.
No, I understood you perfectly.
We're doing a terrible job of preparing kids for that sexual part of their life.
Yeah.
And if you think that you can just go around and indiscriminately have sex, you're going to eventually run into somebody that is going to let you know that they have a different preference in terms of the pleasure of the sexual experience. And if you really go for it, you're going to go raw. And you're going to end up with a fucking baby or some kind of, disease you can't get rid of.
Man, how bad is it to end up with a baby? With somebody you don't love or care about?
Well, it's a disaster for everybody.
It's a disaster for everybody.
Because the kid didn't ask to be here.
Right.
And it's going to grow up with some measure of resentment for the absent party, whether it's the mother or the father.
Right.
And even if they are still together and they're not raising you in love, then you still fucked.
Damn, to be raised without love
is a mess, man.
It's
a mess. And that's why it's so easy for these kids to be indifferent now about everything.
Right. Right.
I mean, we didn't give them a reason to care.
Right. Indifference is a part of how they interact.
Yeah.
Like that's a piece of the ingredients for their interaction is indifference.
Yeah.
But a lot of the kids that are born, a lot of them were born not cared about by the people that brought them together, like you're saying. So then we want them in life to care about their own life when the
and they haven't seen
them even being here was a mistake. As if they've felt like their whole life that their life was a mistake. So why should I care?
Why should I give a hell?
Yeah, why should I give a damn? But at the same time, we're wondering why they don't give a damn. In the same time,
it ain't no mystery.
That's the initial feeling that they've always had.
It's really not a mystery.
But I think men being men, let's just say men being men, and trying to mentor, right, which is mirroring manhood to a boy so he can see what manhood is about. I think that's under attack. Because men being men, mirroring and mentoring manhood to a young boy is now seen as, because we live in this society where kids get to choose their gender, they get to reclassify. So if a man comes in and says, hey son, that's not the natural order of things. You got to do something different, right? And you know how we talk? We're going to talk to you raw, we're going to talk to you real. Now, that's seen as an attack on that young boy's person. How do we deal with that?
Well, you have to go ahead and accept the responsibility that some are going to get it and some are going to spit it out.
Right.
And that's the hard part. And you don't know when to pull back. And sometimes, as I'm evolving, I don't give up on them. I just give out.
Ooh. Come on, Bobby. What that mean? You don't give up.
But I give out.
You give out.
And I leave the door open.
Bobby said, I got to replace a couple of parts. I can't give out.
I'm tired. You know what I mean? And that allows for them to, at some point, if you done really sold into them, you just can't tell, you can't establish the timetable for them.
Right.
But you let them know the consequences. It's like, look, now, I done lick you till I lick you clean. And I ain't gonna lick you no more. Because this ain't working and somebody's missing these blessings that I keep, funneling your way. And I mean, life is harsh like that, man. I mean, you look at the animal kingdom, man, and we are a reflection of the animal kingdom. Because at some point, they'll show you what you need to do to survive. And if you don't pick up on that shit,
you done.
You out to try it, man.
You in the oven.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, we finna wrap it, but
yeah.
I want you to think of 3 things you could tell a young boy that could get his mind right, as he's growing up, relationships, business, whatever you feel you want to share. I'm going to share mine real quick. One thing I told my son New, I said, you have to pay attention to who is willing. If you're dealing with people that are not willing to listen to you, if you're not willing to listen, you're going to have conflict. Only talk with people that are willing. You have to do work with the willing. People who are unwilling, you got to steer clear of them. Because they might be unwilling to see your vision. They might be unwilling to see the plan, the blueprint you got laid out. And whenever there's somebody that is unwilling to see, and I mean making a conscious effort, that person is a hater, low-key. They don't want to see you win. That's subterfuge. They're trying to, you get what I'm saying? They're trying to sabotage what it is that you're trying to do. So only deal with the willing. I would also say to young men today, stop explaining. Explaining is not good. Stop explaining. Because again, you need a willing ear in order for that explanation to make sense. And most people don't know the difference between an explanation and an excuse.
And there's a huge difference.
There's a huge difference between an explanation and an excuse. And when you're dealing with a unsavvy ear, a defensive, traumatized ear, all they gonna hear is excuses. They don't listen for context. They don't listen for understanding. They listen for blame. So you got to identify those people before conflict arises. Bobby, your thoughts?
I'm going back to the principles of the American curriculum. Eliminate the negative. And what that means is you and only you can control the thoughts that will breed success, contentment, happiness, financial reward. Only you. And you can't do that if you get caught up in the shit you can't control.
Come on, man.
So eliminate the negative things that are keeping you from getting to where you want to go. And that supplements the rudiments of that which you seek purely in your heart.
Is also seeking you?
You can't even imagine that if you're running from it.
Right.
By trying to satisfy this person and that person, all these other things.
All this is an inside job.
Yeah. You have to be centered in self in a comfortable and healthy way. Eliminate the negative, establish the facts. Now that's the meat of it. Because the facts are the facts. Now, what you tell the public happened,
that's something else.
That's what you told the public. But the facts is, you have something to do with this situation getting out of hand.
Come on, man.
So establish the facts. And based on those 2 elements, looking at them squarely and honestly, you can make a better decision about the problem and how best to solve it.
Let me address this real quick. Brother Heru said our daughters as well, Zo. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I got a daughter. She's the fucking apple of my eye. I got a daughter. I know what you're talking about. But let me just keep it 1,000. Bobby, let's address this last one. Shit. Sometimes mothers do a better job with daughters than they do with sons.
Ain't no sometimes, man. I mean,
Come
look,
on. Sometimes now, Bobby, talk to me. Talk to me, Bobby. Sometimes mamas raise their daughters and prepare their daughters and get their daughters ready for this treacherous world. But they baby they boys. Talk to me, Bobby.
Women have no choice in the matter because of how they are built. A woman is an exclusive entity.
Yes, sir.
Because if my belly swell up, it's a tumor. Something is terribly wrong. I need to go to the hospital. You see what I mean? If I start bleeding from any of my extremities, I'm headed to the emergency room.
Something wrong.
Right now.
Come on.
So between those two facts of life, we are not the same.
We not the same.
And then it gets worse because women go from, they're, growing up, see, only thing changed on our body is the organ between our legs comes alive at a certain age, and then next thing you know, it controls every mood that we It turns us into swindlers, liars, cheats, everything, because that beast wants to eat first.
Hold on, go ahead. No, finish that thought.
And so we have to accept the reality that you can say that you don't like men, et cetera, et cetera. That's not going to change your anatomy.
That ain't gonna change the game.
And
right.
so when the kinship women have with men, boys, and girls is unique to the female experience. Because I'm not gonna have a human being inside of my body. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
And I can never replicate the things that occur in that 9 months, 6 months, however long that life is in you.
Right.
That changes everything, man. That's why men are more, closer to their mothers in that kind of nurturing way.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
They'll share things with their mama before they will their daddy.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Like when my son told his mama that he got the girl pregnant.
He told her first.
Told her first. and he knew how I wasn't gonna take it. He told her first.
Yeah. And so and what I mean is we just have to accept the fact that all these other choices that we make are simply that. But our physical makeup, it is different, man.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's just the truth, man.
Now, there's a brother in the chat room, Michael Fuller, who's saying a man cannot teach a girl how to be a woman, but he can teach a girl how to be a better woman.
Yeah.
That's
you
for
don't
sure.
get a healthy woman without a good dad.
That's true. That's true.
There's some things, if a good dad is not there, there's some things she's going to have to supplement.
Here's how you know
and
that's
vice
true.
versa.
You know that's true because if you got daughters, and I just have one son and I got a 3-year-old granddaughter. But my thing is this. If you're a man of any ilk, you can see a rotten son of a bitch coming toward, first of all, the nigga won't come, he keep trying to duck you.
Come on. He don't want to see you. You know.
I mean, anytime a girl starts dating a guy that won't come by the house, 9 out of 10 times, that's a shady guy.
Right.
9 out of 10
agreed.
times. You know,
unless he busy. Changing the world.
And that ain't the reason he ain't coming back. No, he want to meet you too, and he want to get this out of the way.
He actually wants to meet you.
No, he wants to get this out of the way, man, because he's expecting that if he gets your approval, then it's a better relationship all the way around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would say the same is true for the mother-son dynamic. Sister, you don't have a healthy man if he doesn't have a respectful, loving relationship with his mama.
That's true.
Because she's the blueprint for how he interacts with women.
Most of the time, that's not the issue because she raised.
Right.
Now we're seeing more single fathers that are prevalent, but they're still a minority. You know what I mean? That has custody and all of that. That's still a minute portion of the population.
Right.
You know, so it's just different, man, and we have to accept some of these differences for what they are, and do the best we can to make the objective the child.
Right.
And giving them a fair chance to make it in a wretched ass world.
The child has to take precedent over your egos,
and all that
over
bullshit,
your unhealed trauma and all that. Bobby, you still selling books?
Yeah.
Come on, Bobby, how they get that book, man?
They can get it on Amazon, or they can get it from me directly if they want to at Bobby@realmendon'tplay.com. And I've got the audio version ready, but I've been so busy the last...
Did you voice it yourself?
Yeah, man.
I bet you that motherfucker nice as hell, boy. Let me hear it, brother.
I will. I'm going to send you the link,
Please.
man. I promise you I will. Because I got to get with you in the next couple of days, and you know, because it's the same, man. How, man, I feel like I'm in the Stone Ages, man. I lost my phone in Vegas the other day and lost half my numbers. Shit, man.
Let's get it together, man. Let's get it together, brother.
Yeah, and Uncle Bobby's Country Corner is returning. I don't know what platform yet because I'm having to cobble these things together.
Don't worry, Bobby. You got Gas Radio. If you want, I'll put you on there.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So Uncle Bobby's Country Corner is coming back on the scene. Counterpunch is going to happen in the next 30 days, and it will be more than just stories about boxing.
Right.
It'll be about how the human experience spans farther than the four square of the ring.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And I love that sport because it's still one of the soccer and boxing have had less changes than any other sports because it's you, the opponent, and the referee. The referee done told you I ain't really got nothing to do with this.
Exactly.
You know.
And Bobby, tell these folk where they can listen to Westward as well.
Westward, you can get it on any of your platforms that you like.
Spotify,
all that. But the Dan Patrick platform is where we operate out of.
Bobby did that shit.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie, he ain't lying either, boy. I'm telling you, in fact, we're up for a few awards that we're probably not gonna win because it's so political.
Yeah.
You know, because they let people vote on the shit, and we didn't have the mechanisms in place. But I tell you what, man, I am so happy that we put our foot in that shit, boy.
Hell yeah. Now, and y'all should cash mob Sarah, man.
Yeah, do
Sarah
that.
made this show crack. She was here. She's running the board.
Yeah.
Shit. She had her little questions. I wanted her to talk more, but
I'm glad she didn't.
She was sitting back. She country.
Whatever, Bobby.
You know, Bobby from the South too. We girl talk too much now.
Bobby
Running a goddamn mouth.
Bobby the uncle that be playing dominoes in the driveway.
See, Bobby remind me of, you know, my mother and her siblings. Kids should be seen
and not
heard.
Yes, Lord.
Sit your ass over there and listen. You know what I'm saying?
You see grown folks talking.
You see grown people talking.
Oh boy, I'm just saying.
Yes, man, please support Sarah, Cash Mob Sarah. And don't forget, man, come to Mises.com. Check it out. Use that code ZOLIVE21. Discount code. Get 70% off. Come to Mises.com. Y'all got to support. Also, the Shrouded Lighthouse is really getting close to being completed. If you haven't pre-ordered your copy of the book, please do so right now. TheShroudedLighthouse.com. Support all of the black-owned businesses. Total Package Energy. Buy all of their inventory. Go buy it all now. You need that energy drink. It's not a drink now, it's a shot. Get the B12, the vitamin C. Get these, man, right now. Go to TotalPackageEnergy.com. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. Also, X-Wolf. Support X-Wolf. Support the HuriKane Report. Support all of the businesses we put in front of you guys. Because that's how you keep the black business sphere growing and expanding. This has been Mansions. I'm just so happy, man. Bobby came in and dropped some jewels, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm Zoe Williams, and we out.
Peace. Oh.